we'll do the live thing first. Like, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bigmark podcast. It's me, your host, Bigmark. If it's your first time watching, welcome. If not, welcome back. Like I always say, if you ever wanted to reach out to the podcast for any reason, hit us up in the DMs. If you want to let us know if you want to hear a new topic, or if you want to let us know how you like an episode or not, check us out on Instagram or Twitter at the Bigmark Pod or at the Bigmark Podcast. Also hit us up in the comments if you'd like. Get some convos going out there. Again, you know, I always ask, and I always say this, you know, the people wonder how to support, and you guys are doing the best you could possibly do right now by watching or listening and sharing the podcast with your friends. The best way you could support, and you know, like and subscribe to our videos and do all that fun stuff. If you want to keep it going and go one more step, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/thebigmarkpod. And there's different levels there. You can support the podcast, help us keep the lights on, so to speak. Excuse me. Thanks again for being here tonight. You know, it's fun when I get to do some of these recap episodes, not necessarily, you know, on a specific topic that I had to do research on. It was on a little fun little outing experience, which again, like I always say, are fun to let you guys in on. I just went on our annual ice fishing trip. Me and my buddy B-Rye, his partner Brittany, and her brother Brendan, and I think we've been a couple times with that exact crew, but I think this was our 5th year potentially going up there ice fishing, and it's super fun. You sleep out on the ice. I've done episodes, I think, about it before, but this particular trip, again, is always super fun. So it's up in Calendar Bay, Ontario, which is near North Bay on Lake Nipissing. So pretty far up there. I think it was like 4 hours and change or something up there, and we like left at like 4:30 in the morning. We left super early and got out on the road, got ahead of traffic, even though the weather was just brutes magoots. If you're watching this, I guess in the deep future, we went the 23rd, 4th, and 5th of January, 2026. So I guess you could look back and know that was a bit of a weekend to go, because I'll tell you, the snow was quite wild. Even going up, which was like completely not expected. So we went up. B-Rye and Britt came down. Brendan had a buddy here in Hamilton that he stayed with. B-Rye and Britt came over. We got a little Zaza, hung out. They crashed here, and then, like I said, we got up super early in the morning. So they came on Thursday night, and we left Friday morning. Like I said, like 4:30. Got on the road. Got a little stanky dankies, a little McSqueezy, Egg McMuffskis and stuff, and then hit the fucking Dusty. I don't think we really stopped. I think we stopped once because Brittany was having some troubles. So we did a little convoy. We did 2 cars. I was in the car with B-Rye, and Brittany and Brendan were in B-Rye's car. And you know, it's obviously still dark at 4:30 in the morning. Sun doesn't come up till like 7-ish. So anyway, we're ripping. We were like, almost our whole trip was in the dark, to be truthfully honest. So we're like ripping through fucking like Barrie and all these places, and all of a sudden there's like crazy storms. We're like right at the head of the storm, and you know, that's kind of the problem sometimes, is when you're like right at the head of the storm and the snow's coming down pretty good, it's not enough time for the snowplows and shit to come out and like get some of the stuff out. At least if it's a long storm, or you know, the storm's been happening, there is time for the plows and shit to get out there. But if you don't get ahead of that, all of a sudden you're the fucking plow. So you're ahead of the game. And we had Britt behind us, and then we lost her, and it was a little dicey, but it was because her wipers weren't working super well, so she couldn't really see. And that's super sketchy, because it was also like one of those things where, you know, it's not even like they weren't working like at all. It's just like if they're not working perfectly, like if there's like a little bit of a streak that's like in your eye line, and you have this oncoming traffic from the other side of the highway because we're on the 400, it's hard to see because that bright light, the headlights are like shining off that fucking salt and all that greasiness on the window. So I totally get it. Even my windshield wipers were in pretty decent shape, but they just were like getting worked. So even I couldn't see all that well, so I totally fell for it. But we stopped and checked to see if we could get some new wiper blades, but she said it was okay. So at least there was a place to stop. And then as the sun came up, it was a lot easier to see everything, and you know, it was safer. Let's just put it that way. Even though as we're going, like we're on the Highway 11, you know, making our way up to Nipissing, and there was like a car like in the left lane just completely perpendicular to traffic, like just like somehow must have spun out, and just like we must have just saw them because Britt was behind us and she said that they were already over to the right side by the time they got there. So it must have just happened because they didn't look like they were moving. Like it was kind of sketchy. But anyway, get some snow tires, people. But other than that, super smooth sailing. We got up there. We go to Chili Willie's, which is a place we've gone, I think, 4 years in a row now. It's it's on Calendar Bay, which is on Nipissing, and super fun. The huts are really nice, really well built, and like they're overnight permanent, quote unquote, permanent huts. I mean, nothing's permanent on the fucking ice because eventually it's gonna melt. But there's like different versions. There's, I think, 2-man, 4-man, 6-man, or maybe, yeah, and then 8-man or something like that, or 4-man and 8-man, and then there's like deluxe versions of those. And like, so I think we do the 4-man deluxe, and like it's big. There's lots of places to there's 8 holes, so everyone gets 2 holes, or maybe not. But anyway, regardless, everyone has a hole to fish in the hut. It's propane heated. There's bunk beds in there, sweet little table, little kitchenette with like a full oven with burners, and like you can like bake shit in there. And like, not, of course, no running water or anything, but like a little sink where you can do the dishes and shit like that. A little porta potty attached to the building. You don't have to like go very far when you go outside. And again, it's just like really nice, really well built, put together, and like I said, super warm. There's a TV in there with a DVD player. You can hook up your Computron to it. Well, we tried anyway. It didn't really work, but super sick. Like again, like you're in there pretty tight quarters, obviously with 3 other people, but it doesn't feel like super cramped. You know, again, I guess you kind of like you give into that fact or whatever. If you felt claustrophobic, maybe not so much, but it doesn't feel like it. It's good size in there. And it was like minus 30 something outside. So like you're like kind of in this like weird little like space capsule thing almost. Cause when you walk outside, it does feel like you're kind of like on the surface of the moon basically. And it's such an interesting experience. Like I said, I've done a podcast on ice fishing before, but you know, you get used to being inside that hut and all of a sudden you take a look outside and, you know, where we are in Calendar Bay, and you know, you're in a little bay. So like you see land and you know you're on the lake, but excuse me, there's times where B-Rye and I have walked out like a couple kilometers out into the lake, like when we've gone ice fishing, and like you can't really see land as well as much, especially if it's snowing a little bit, and it does feel like you're on the surface of the moon if you don't see other huts, because there's mad other huts that are on the lake too. Like there's other outfitters, other fishing places. But again, one of the worst parts about, as I mentioned, you know, I've been out with B-Rye where we've just like walked out with a portable hut, and you can like move around. If the fishing's not good, you can kind of find a new place to go. But with the permanent hut, you're kind of stuck where you're stuck. And as much as we had tons of fun, this is the unfortunate part, is that, I mean, I personally didn't catch any fish, which is super sad. I had a couple bites, but again, it was just like a fucking skunk weekend. I think we probably caught, as a group, 10 fish altogether. Like, it's not like we caught like a shit ton of fish. And yeah, it's kind of just one of these things where it's like, man, we have fun. It's great, but it's like $260 a night for the hut for everybody. And like, you could probably pay that much for a sweet Airbnb. Like, yeah, they get you out there, they provide you a bunch of shit. Like, there's lots of great things provided, but essentially we could probably just get a sweet Airbnb that's on a fucking frozen lake and just bring ice fishing shit with us and make sure that you're allowed to ice fish the lake and just fucking go out and do that. Because again, we could probably make it better, and then sleep in like a warm bed and in a house and like, you know, have dinner and do all that fun shit too. Like, you know, as much as it's cool, like fishing at night, like, you know, you set up a pole at night when you go to sleep, you put little bells on it and shit, but fucking balls, man. Like, it's just no fun. Like, when you go on an ice fishing trip and you don't catch any fish, right? So, and don't get me wrong, I don't want it to come across like I'm sore about it, because, you know, whatever, it is what it is. Nothing's guaranteed, and it's ice fishing. Like, you're best off being early in the season or late in the season. We're kind of smack dab in the middle or getting into the meat of the winter, and it's not going to be the best fishing. These fish are dormant. It's cold down there. They're not taking risks and biting weird ass shit. They're going to make sure that they're getting good making the food that they're eating is not going to kill them, because I don't know, they might not think that they're going to get caught by a fucking human with a rod, but they might be like, what the fuck is that? Maybe I'm not going to bite it, because who knows, right? Like, you know, there's all kinds of weird shit in the lakes where it's like, you know, there's other animals that use, like, especially other fish that use like weird like lure techniques, and then even just like poisonous shit or like weird bugs or like crustaceans or like weird plants probably hurt the fish too. I don't know what the fuck they're doing down there, but they can be cautious. I mean, you are trying to trick them with the lure. It's not like, you know, it's, you know, they don't bite everything that goes down there. I mean, clearly. And we use like live bait as well. So we're really tricking them here. Like, but I don't know. I don't want to get inside the head of a fish right now. I don't know how that works. But again, it's kind of one of these things where you go on an ice fishing trip, you want to catch fish. So if we do end up doing the Airbnb where we have a portable hut, then we can move around and we can drill as many holes as we want. Well, you know, within reason, and have people out there and fish inside the hut and outside the hut, and maybe bring another hut and, you know, do all this fun stuff, right? So it's kind of like the best of both worlds potentially. I don't know. It's an idea, right? So maybe it'll work someday. But again, like, you know, you want to catch fish, and I caught fish last year. I think I've at least caught some fish. We were talking about it. I might have got skunked before, to be truthfully honest, but it's also because I'm not constantly like vigilantly fishing too. That's the thing, right? You know, we got food and, you know, drinking and having a good time and stuff like that. You know, you want to get up and hang out. And, so that does take away from the fishing, and you got to cut up food and you want to help, but again, that takes away from the fishing. And, I have my own gear. Like I have a couple rods and I got some tackle, but I don't have like all the tackle in the world. And there's all these different techniques and all this shit. And it's just like, I don't go enough where I'm going to use all that stuff. And then I don't necessarily want to just borrow everyone else's stuff in case, you know, it's fishing, right? You can lose lures and stuff. Not that happened at all, but it can happen. And I'd rather just have my own and try to figure it out. But at the same time too, like, I don't even know what I'm doing. So I got weird lures in there that probably are useless, but, I digress. I'm not, as much as it is an ice fishing trip. And like I just said, I'd like to catch fish on the ice fishing trip. It is still fun times with friends. It's great to hang out with everyone. Everyone's fun. I mean, obviously I know B-Rice since university, and Britt, really. They've been together that long, and her brother's a great guy. So it's super fun. It's super fun hanging out with everybody. No doubt. And we had great food this time. We kind of went, we're all, or at least me, Britt, and Brian are all kind of like watching our figure right now. I mean, I'm trying to lose all this weight for this hernia surgery, but at the same time, you know, health. And, So we kind of tried to do a little bit of a better approach as far as our diet was concerned. And we ended up going with, like, we had like a nice little charcuterie board, some nice little tacos kind of thing. I mean, like, obviously not amazing, but like still pretty good. Like, when you break it down, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, maybe a taco from fucking Taco Bell isn't great, but like realistically, it's most likely a flour tortilla. All right, maybe a little carbs there, but cheese and lettuce and vegetables and ground beef, like, you're not gonna fucking die off that shit. I mean, unless it's like terribly processed. But if you're making your own, like we were, and we had that accoutrement in case we wanted to make a fish taco, B-Ray was the only one who was able to catch a fish that we could cut up and eat, and he made up a little taco, and then we all had a little piece of a fish as well. It was great. It was just like, oh man, one of the best parts about ice fishing is when you do catch enough fish to eat. And again, that was just not happening. We didn't even catch a single perch, which was kind of wild. We did catch a pike. Brendan caught like a Cisco, which is like this kind of interesting white fish. And then a few mud puppies this year. Super gross. Apparently I had my rod in the water and just fell asleep at night, and B-Ray was attending it. And there was a mud puppy, which are these like little like salamander type things that walk around the bottom of the lake, and amphibious type fucking creatures, and they're kind of gross and slimy. And if they swallow the hook, it's a fucking bummer, because they're not like a fish where they have innards that you kind of understand. They got weird like reptilian innards that definitely is a lot harder to get a hook out of. And yeah, they're just nasty. But like, it seemed this year they were just like holding on to the lure for a little ride, and then we just like kick them back in the hole. So super gross. But other than that, and we were trying to do a little tournament this year. Fuck. So we were trying to do our it was officially the first annual ice fishing derby, and it was based on inches. So we measured each fish, and whoever had the most inches at the end of the weekend was the winner. And I of course had 0. So we're gonna have to figure out some type of skunked award, like the taco award or whatever the fuck they used to call it on the league. The ball sacco. The sacco. I think it was the Sacco Award, and it was like a ball sack. Anyway, something like that. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. Hopefully the skunk is shed. Every year I renew my fishing license for this event, usually at the beginning of the year in January or February, and then never use it again for the rest of the year. So I do vow that I will use my fishing license again at least once more before next year, before I have to fucking renew it again. And yeah, I can't wait to get out there again. Like, whether it's back at Chili Willie's, which is excellent. Again, I got nothing against Chili Willie's. It's fantastic. Everyone there is phenomenal. All the people who work there are great. We really like appreciate everything they do. We fucking forgot coffee, and they hooked us up with coffee. Like, they're legit. But, and it's not their fault. If the fishing ain't right, it ain't tight. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to try to figure that out. We're going to try to figure out a place to go. If anyone knows, if any listeners are listening and they're interested in ice fishings and know of a place that we could probably hit up. And I mean, even B-Rice's place, they live down in Staples. They're close to Lake St. Clair and Lake Erie. That's fucking hotspot shit. That we could maybe go early or late in the season, because then at least they can keep an eye on the ice. Because that's the problem when you book one of these outfitters at the beginning of the year or at the end of the season, the beginning of the season or the end of the season. If there's no ice at the beginning of the season, you're fucked. And if the ice is melting at the end of the season, you're fucked. So it's way safer to pick a date in the middle of the winter, but it could also be fucking shiesty shitty. So anyway, we'll see what happens next year. But B-Ry was the first annual official winner of the ice fishing derby. Maybe if you ask Britt, there might be an asterisk next to his name because he was using his fish finder, but we all could have asked to use it. Whatever. it's fucking ice fishing. Like, yeah, maybe he could have seen something, but at the same time, it's fucking it's fishing. So maybe next year we go no toys, no gadgets. But other than that, it was a fair fight, and B-Rye is angler supreme for 2026, and we'll see where we go next year and continue the tradition, because we even had like a little tiny trophy, which we can put little names on, and it's like it's a little trophy topper, really, to be honest. And it's going to be exciting when we get to build it up and put some rings on it. So the new Chuchly Cup, we haven't named it yet. But yeah. So thanks y'all for watching. If you guys are into ice fishing or anything like that, let me know. Let me know if you know any tips or tricks or places to go and check out, or outfitters that you know is just banging ice fishing no matter where you are, no matter where you go. Again, thank you all for listening. Hope you get out there. Hopefully you're super safe when you're out there. Practice good ice fishing safety techniques, and make sure you got warm shit on, warm boots, and an exit strategy. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening. We'll see you next week. Love y'all. Peace.